We've all been there, right? You've got a big decision to make, and you just go with your gut. But what if you could trade that hunch for a hard number? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. We're diving into the world of business analytics, basically a toolkit for making smarter, faster, data-driven decisions. And trust me, we're going to kick things off with a problem where the stakes are literally life and death. Okay, so why should you care about this stuff? Let's put you in the driver's seat for a second with this question. Imagine you are responsible for millions of doses of a brand new life-saving vaccine. How do you make sure every single one of those doses gets to where it needs to go, perfectly preserved, without a single one spoiling? The answer is all about mastering something called the cold chain. It's this incredibly fragile, temperature-controlled journey from the factory all the way to the clinic. For most vaccines, we're talking about a razor-thin window between 35 and 46 degrees Fahrenheit. If it goes outside that, even for a moment, poof, the whole batch is gone. Useless. And get this isn't some rare fluke thing. A CDC study found that a staggering 75% of healthcare providers had run into serious problems with their cold chain. I mean, that's 3 out of every 4. That's a massive risk, not just to the bottom line, but to public health. So how do you solve a problem like this? Well, here's where it gets really cool. A company called Magpie Sensing looked at this and realized the answer wasn't, some fancy new freezer. Nope, it was better data. They decided to outsmart the problem instead of just trying to outbuild it. So what's their secret sauce? It starts with these simple little wireless monitors that track temperature and location. But the real magic isn't just grabbing the data. It's in their algorithms. You can think of them like a digital lookout, constantly scanning all that information to predict problems before they actually happen. It's the difference between finding out your freezer broke yesterday and getting an alert that its compressor is about to fail. Now that's a game changer. And this story, it's the perfect example of a much bigger idea. Because really, the problem Magpie solved for vaccines, that's the same kind of problem every organization is facing today in every industry. They need better answers, and they need them fast. I mean, think about it. The world today is just a pressure cooker, right? You've got global competition popping up everywhere, customers who expect everything yesterday, and markets that can change in the blink of an eye. If you want to survive, let alone actually succeed, you have to be faster, smarter, and more innovative than ever. There's actually a pretty simple model for thinking about this. Step 1, you've got these external pressures, like new competitors or changing customer tastes. Step 2, the company has to respond to those pressures. But, and this is the key part, for step 3, to respond well, they need support. And in our world, that support comes from computerized systems that help them make better, data-backed decisions. And that is where we get this term you've probably heard thrown around, business intelligence, or BI for short. You can think of it as the engine that provides all that support. It's just a big picture term for all the tools and methods companies use to take tons of raw, messy data and turn it into clear, meaningful information you can actually use to win. Okay, so how does this BI engine actually run? Well, it's got 3 main tools in its toolkit. And this isn't just a list, it's really an evolution in power. It's about moving from just seeing what happened in the past to predicting the future, and then ultimately to actively shaping it. All right, tool number 1 is descriptive analytics. This is the bedrock, the foundation. It answers one simple but super important question. What happened? It's all about looking back at historical data to figure out what's going on and to spot trends you might have completely missed otherwise. Let me give you a great example. Seattle Children's Hospital started using simple dashboards to just visualize how patients moved through their system. And by just seeing the data clearly for the first time, they found this huge bottleneck. Tiny delays in the very first appointments of the day were creating this massive domino effect all day long. So by fixing that one small thing, they improved patient care and saved over $3 million. Incredible, right? And that's all from just seeing what was really going on. Okay, let's grab the next tool from our kit, predictive analytics. This is where we stop looking in the rearview mirror and start looking through the windshield. It answers the really exciting question, what is likely to happen next? It uses all sorts of statistical models to forecast the future. Of course, the classic example of this is Moneyball. You know the story. For like 100 years, baseball teams picked players based on the gut feelings of old school scouts. But then the Oakland A's came along and just tossed that whole playbook in the trash. They used a predictive model, focused on overlooked stats like on-base percentage, and found incredible players that everyone else was ignoring. And the results were, they were insane. This tiny team, built on a shoestring budget and a smart algorithm, went on to win 20 games in a row and set a new league record. They didn't just compete with the big guys, they literally changed the game forever. Which brings us to our final and maybe most powerful tool, prescriptive analytics. Okay, this is where it really feels like the future. It doesn't just tell you what happened or what might happen, it goes one step further and answers the ultimate question. So what? What should we do about it? It gives you actual specific recommendations. Check this out. The Industrial and Commercial Bank of China had this massive problem. They had over 16,000 branches and needed to figure out where to build new ones. So they built a prescriptive model that crunched all this geographic, demographic, and transaction data. And it didn't just give them hints. It gave them a literal treasure map. It told them exactly where to build, leading to a, wait for it, $21 billion increase in deposits. Just wow. So you're probably noticing a theme here. All three of these incredible tools run on the same fuel, data. But here's the thing. Over the last decade or so, the fuel itself has fundamentally changed. We've officially entered the era of big data. So what exactly is big data? Well, the simplest way to think about it is this. It's data that's just too big, too fast, or too weird for your normal spreadsheet or database to handle. It's this absolute fire hose of information coming from everywhere: social media, website clicks, sensors, you name it. People usually talk about it with the 3 V's. First, there's volume, just the mind-boggling amount of it. Then you've got velocity, which is the incredible speed it's all coming at us. And finally, there's variety. It's not just numbers in a box anymore. We're talking text, pictures, videos, all sorts of messy, unstructured stuff. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, right? We've gone from saving vaccines to changing the game of baseball, and it's all powered by this data explosion. So let's boil it all down. What's the one thing you really need to remember from all this? Here it is, your key takeaway. This is the framework. It all starts with descriptive analytics, answering what happened. Remember the hospital dashboards? Then you level up to predictive analytics to ask what will happen. That's your Moneyball moment, finding those hidden gems. And finally, you get to the ultimate goal with prescriptive analytics, which answers, what should we do? Like the bank getting its treasure map. So I'll leave you with this one last thought, and it's a question for you. Think about your job, your career, maybe even a big life decision you're wrestling with. What's one thing, just one, that could totally change if you stopped relying on that gut feeling and started asking these 3 simple data-driven questions instead?